Hello, my loves. Me and my greasy hair are here to talk to you today a little bit about body image and the time of Corona and also weighing yourself on that scale. So, I'm going to share the experience that I just went through yesterday because it was a roller coaster in the hopes that maybe you can feel not so alone or normalize it or really have a way to frame it for yourself. So, a little bit of groundwork first. Number one, as a personal trainer, I don't believe in scales. Throw that shit out. What it is telling you one number and it's not telling you what's happening to your body, right? So maybe that number goes up. Could be because we gained some weight. Could be water. It's likely water retention. But even more so, the likely story, if you've been working out with me a lot and you've been lifting some weights at home, is that your muscles might be getting stronger, and muscles weigh more than fat. So that's a perfectly natural reason. Second of all, for background history, I had an eating disorder in high school and in college. A lot of you that follow me know that. And so, even to this day, I support communities that help women get through that. So, Now Wellness is a facility in New York. They're kind of like an oasis, almost like a spa, except their nutritionists are amazing because they sort of deal with this lifestyle nutrition of if you've had an eating disorder, what's the emotional side of that, right? I started my journey by going to a nutritionist who literally put macros in front of me. Macros. Track what you're eating. Track everything you're eating. Yeah. Obsess over it. That is the worst thing you can say to somebody with an eating disorder, right? So screw that and find yourself a great community like Now Wellness and don't wait to reach out. And then the third is that I feel like anxiety is high. I mean, it already is one of the number one conditions in the US, right? But especially when we're at home, anxiety can spike. Candace is a 305 instructor, and she had this really beautiful post yesterday, and I talked to her about it a little bit about how, wow, anxiety actually can be a good thing. It can be a warning sign to us of like, hey, you need to pause and deal with something because you're having feels about it. All right. And as somebody that, understands and gets anxiety often, it resonated. Okay. So needless to say, I did a lot of reading on psychology stuff, and the acronym ROLL came across, which is something that I've said in other ways. But ROLL is recognize, observe, let go. Recognize you're feeling something, observe it, and let it go. Boom. Ready for story time? I didn't want to step on the scale, but I'd been avoiding it. And I was just curious. I was curious, But also, my mind was like, not being very nice. I had an ice cream the night before. I had already eaten breakfast and I had like a big thing of tea in the morning. And I was like, oh my God, what if I'm 5 pounds over? What if this sends me on a downward spiral? What if, what if, what if? And so I decided to step on the scale. It was a little heavier than I would have wanted. It was. And I said, wow, you know what? I started getting hit with these kind of old terminologies that I used to associate with the scale and with my worth. I was useless. I was worthless. I was fat. I must not be skinny enough to be a fitness instructor. I can't believe I would let this happen. I thought I had been eating healthy. So your mind just starts to run. And it started to run, and then I started to feel guilt and shame because I felt guilty because I know better than this. I've learned better than this. I've educated myself. I've trained. My nutritionist would be appalled if I was talking this way to myself. Oh my goodness. And also, as a coach, it's the opposite of what I preach, right? Like I preach that, your weight's not your worth. You have to get strong, all of those things. And I just, I was like, am I being hypocritical as a coach? And then I thought, no, I'm being human. And you know what? I was fighting. I went on, I pretended I was okay. I started to work out with my boyfriend, and then mid-workout it hit. And I was like, wow, you know what? I am trying to fight these feelings and push them aside because I'm telling them I'm not going to let them ruin my day. And they are doing just that. Rude. Who said that you could ruin my day? Nobody let you in here. So I said, my boyfriend was like, I'm good on the workout. You keep going if you want, because I was testing a bunch of programming. I said, you know what? I'm going to, but I need a minute. So I actually I put my earphones on. I turned to the wall and I said, okay, Nicole. Okay. You're going to half let this bother you and not acknowledge it? Not cool. You need to let yourself feel. So I had recognized from ROLL, recognize that you're feeling these feelings, and then observe. And I hadn't let myself observe because I was fighting it. So I let everything in. And it was pretty cool because when I had my eating disorder in high school, I like went to this dark place and I would sit in it and it defined me and I couldn't pull myself out. And now, as I am today, I went to the dark space and I let myself observe all those thoughts there, and I was a visitor. I was a guest in the dark space. It didn't feel like it was my own anymore. And that was pretty cool. And even sitting in there, I could still see light and clarity, and I was still able to say, like, this is not a place I want to stay. Like, I recognize I'm allowing myself to work through it, but this is not me or what I believe in, and I can disassociate from it. So that is amazing. Like, that is growth. That is years of me building my own body confidence and self-talk up, right? So I sat in it and I just didn't have any judgment. I thought all the thoughts. I let out all the insecurities. I let out every fear story and narration I was telling myself. And I said, okay, it's time to redefine your fear story. So for some people, the fear story comes about differently. So in terms of eating and weight and anxiety, it can be when I put my clothes on, I feel worthless and I judge myself in that moment based off if they fit me or if they don't. Or it can be when I'm sitting down at my plate and at my meal, I feel like I should eat a certain amount or I shouldn't eat a certain amount and I get anxiety there. Or it can be when you step on the scale, right? But like there's all these different fear stories we tell ourselves, and they're not real. So it's your job to then rewrite the story and decide who you are, how you want to feel, and how you're going to talk to your body. So I said, okay, time to pull myself up out of that hole. And what are we going to tell ourselves? Well, we're going to tell ourselves, I'm still me. None of this defines me. How do you want to feel? I want to feel generally happy and at peace and successful. And guess what? Today has nothing to do with this, because if you take today and you look at it on a timeline of like 6 to 10 years, well, guess what? Right now, I look how I look. In 6 months, I could, look like a CrossFitter with chiseled abs and strong thighs and a big booty and look awesome. I could gain 20 pounds. I could be pregnant a couple years down the line, and then none of this will matter. So am I going to let those thoughts ruin one day, one beautiful day that I could be enjoying my workouts, programming for the week, and having a good time with my boyfriend? Absolutely freaking not. No. And then what can my body do? So when I first started my fitness journey, I was a Zumba instructor. I did kickboxing. I ran 9 miles a day. And this was like in Florida in high school. I was obsessed with fitness, but I was also obsessed with a certain body image and being skinny and maintaining that. And because of that, I over-exercised, I under-ate, and I wasn't strong. When I say I wasn't strong, I mean I literally could not do one push-up with my body weight, barely, even on my knees. Yeah? And then I couldn't lift more than maybe a 10-pound weight. And if that's where you're at, that is completely fine. But I had just realized it wasn't healthy for me because I was doing all the fit things without actually achieving the results of having my body be strong and capable. I honestly felt weak after my workouts. So now my body can do 3 workouts a day, can do a full 305 class without breaking a sweat, can do 10 push-ups in a row, can snatch a 35 kettlebell over my head. That's pretty freaking strong. So I can sit here and cry about 3 to 5 pounds, or I can recognize that that doesn't define me. It's not even who I am today, let alone in a week, right? So after I call it a pity party very often. So like roll with it, recognize, observe, let go. Often in that observe part, when my boyfriend or I are upset about something, I'm like, okay, 1 minute pity party, 5-minute pity party. I literally set a timer and like let one of us have a pity party. And then you got to move on with your life, right? Because there's nothing worth complaining about for that long. So that's all to say, worrying about your weight or how you look is a natural human tendency, right? We're all human. We all want to be our best, and we're all a little bit vain. But I'm challenging you to allow yourself to roll with your anxiety, whether it's weight-based or it's food-based or it's otherwise in the health and fitness space, whatever it is, roll with it. So recognize it, observe it, and then let it go. Face that anxiety as something that is actually asking you to take a pause, observing it and saying, I must be feeling this for a reason, and the reason is because it is signaling that it is time for self-growth. All right, my loves. Thank you so much for spending 10 minutes of your day with me and allowing me to share something personal with you. If this resonated with you, if you feel me, then absolutely please send me a message or a comment and let me know. We're all in this together, High School Musical style, and I hope you're having a beautiful day.